Welcome to Monster Hunter Wilds. Whether you are a new, returning, or simply lost and confused hunter, here's a quick start guide to get you familiar with general progression, set building, and important systems you're really going to want to take advantage of. First, let's talk about general build and leveling progression from early to late high rank. If you're just starting high rank and have no idea where to begin, you should start by making yourself a shiny new set of high rank armor. If you're unsure of what skills you need, just go with a full set of Ebony Odogaron armor for now. Alpha gloves and boots, and beta everything else. This will do you very well for this point in the game. You'll also want some decorations to go with it, so go ahead and complete the weekly bounty to get silver melding tickets, and exchange those at the Elder Melder and Suja for glowing orb armor to get a nice kickstart. We'll talk more about which skills are super important later. For leveling up your hunter rank, complete all of your assigned optional quests as you get them, and then keep your eye out for investigations that reward lots of decorations. And after hunter rank 40, you'll be able to find 7-star and 8-star monsters. These will get you top tier decorations as well as Artian parts, which will be very useful later. Stock up on these. And don't forget that you can reset all the monsters on the map by simply resting with your portable barbecue grill. Combine this with a tip I'll share soon if you really want to max out your efficiency. Once you reach Hunter rank 50, you'll unlock access to 2 out of 4 Arch-tempered monsters. This is important because wearing 3 pieces of their armor, even if they are from different Arch-tempered monsters, will give you the Lord Soul group bonus, one of the best skills in the game. Once you hit Hunter rank 100, you'll have access to everything in the game, including the ability to transcend your armor, which will also give Rarity 5 and 6 armor additional decoration slots. This opens up build variety a ton, which can be overwhelming at first. But don't worry, we're going to cover set building soon. Now let's quickly go over weapon progression. There is no doubt that Gogma Artian weapons are the strongest in the game, but that does require reaching Hunter rank 100 first, so until then, Arcveld, Zoshia, and Lagiacris weapons are really good options to go for. And once your Hunter rank is high enough to take on Gogmazios, you'll want a weapon with fire element and one with dragon element for his fight. For dragon, Arcveld is a very easy choice here. For fire, you can just go with something like a Rathalos and you'll be fine. More on Gogmatian weapons later. Do not forget to upgrade your armor, it makes a huge difference. The smelting foundry in Azus is going to be your best friend here. You can exchange your excess monster materials for tons of armor spheres, as well as Oricalcite for upgrading your Artian and Gogma Artian weapons. And a good way to grind tons of materials fast? Try and find investigations for monster herds for a ton of materials, or take on frenzied monsters because they have really low HP and you can kill them really fast. You can also exchange a bunch of stuff at the Elder Melder and Suja, including Artian weapon materials and talismans. We'll touch on those in the skills section of the video. And if you're melding for decorations, here's a tip for deciding which decorations to exchange. Go to skill info and check the maximum level of the skill on the decoration. Counter Strike goes up to level 3. You're never going to need more than 3 counter jewels, so you're safe to meld any excess ones you have. But beware that if it's a weapon decoration, you may want to hold onto an extra copy in case you ever want to use the same decorations on your secondary weapon too. Now when it comes to items, you really want to make good use of your Radial menu. Go to Customize Radial menu and set this up however you like. This is how I like to have my Radial menu set up. I do have more spots to add more items here, but I don't like the layout of the Radial menu when there's too much stuff going on. Now the first thing I personally did was get rid of optimal health recovery and just put a Mega Potion there. The reason for this is that Mega Potions are always going to heal more and heal you faster as well. Optimal status recovery though, always goated, keep that on. I like to have multiple Radial menus for different things. For example, on controller, when I hit down on the D-pad, here are all my buffing items. So it's time to refresh my buffs, I can just do everything here. Might Seeds, Demon Powders, and Demon Drugs all stack with each other. So you can really stack the buffs on once you get used to using a bunch of items. If you run out of items on your Radial menu, as long as you have the stuff in your inventory to craft more, you'll automatically craft when you select it and use the item. With this method, you can also carry a lot of max potions on you at a time. Just carry catalysts and mandragoras and the stuff to make even more catalysts. Hence why I also have the option to craft catalysts on my Radial menu too, right next to the max potions. If you're like me and find yourself running out of items all the damn time, if you have resource points to spare, you can reset using the portable barbecue grill. And every time you do that, Nata will have a bunch of items ready for you. But one advanced tip that'll help a lot: each material that Nata gathers comes from a different area in the game, and the gathering rate of those will depend on which season it is in that specific area. We can use that to our advantage by resting at the right place at the right time. For example, when I rest in the Windward Plains on the Plenty, the Windward Plains will always turn into the Plenty along with the Ice Shard Cliffs, and the rest will be fallow. But what happens if I rest for the Plenty in the Ice Shard Cliffs? Oh, suddenly the plains are now fallow, but the Scarlet Forest is the Plenty. And this is not random. You will always have the same outcome depending on where you rest and for what season. Experiment with this and use it to your advantage to get lots of stars on the items you want Nata to gather for you. Now for a quick rundown of some of the best skills to look out for and why you might want to consider them for your build. First off, I strongly recommend having a balance of skills. Pick some high value offensive skills that work with your weapon, then throw in a few comfy skills that you like, and you're really going to see a big difference compared to going all in on either one. Starting with the offensive skills. 1 point of burst. This skill is very frontal loaded, meaning that you get the most value out of your first point. No matter how fast or slow your weapon is, I highly recommend using this on any build you're using. 1 point of adrenaline rush. Another front-loaded skill. The timing to activate this is extremely forgiving. Even if you mess up your dodge and get hit, this skill will still activate most of the time anyway. Speaking from experience, maximum might. One of the best affinity skills we currently have, but there are some caveats. It's useless on dual blades and bow due to their constant stamina consumption, and for weapons that use stamina in moderation like the hammer or lance, you'll want to use the 2-piece Folgeransnath set bonus. This will give you some extra stamina to use that won't actually affect maximum might. Agitator. Good boost, solid uptime, great skill for any build. Level 5 will get you the most value. Counter Strike. Nice attack boost, much higher duration if you can get it to level 3. Good skill if you're getting smacked around a lot, but will still activate when tackling through a heavy attack with greatsword or parrying with a switch axe, so it's god tier on both these weapons. Latent Power. Insanely high affinity boost, and the stamina reduction is very helpful too. Activates after 2 minutes in combat or by taking a total of 130 damage. So it's actually pretty easy to activate against 9-star monsters because they hit like a truck. Now for some of the best comfy skills. There are some really good ones here, so do not sleep on these. Speed Eating level 2. 2 points in this skill will give you the best bang for buck. Increasing your item consumption speed is absolutely bonkers for both survival and getting back into the action faster. Divine Blessing. Incredible defensive skill. Really good for tough hunts or if you're still learning a fight. Item Prolonger. Makes using buffing items such as mud seeds and demon powders much more efficient and will save you resources by not having to use them as often. Very underrated skill and one of my personal favorites. Evade Extender. Excellent for mobility and avoiding big attacks. Especially useful for really tough hunts like Omega. Earplugs. Level 2 of the skill will work for most monsters in the game. Relatively easy to fit into your build and can give you some massive openings in return. These skills are some of my personal favorites, but there are plenty of other awesome skills out there, so if any of them catch your eye, give them a try. Don't forget that you can craft and upgrade charms at the smithy too, as well as hunt 9-star monsters for charms with randomized skills on them, including weapon skills and decoration slots. But don't worry if you get unlucky, because craftable charms are still really strong. Trying to craft a good Gogma Artian weapon can feel a little overwhelming with how much RNG is involved, so let me take you through my step-by-step process as I make a weapon from scratch. But first, there are 2 methods you can choose here. The first is the normal way. Go to the smithy and select Forge Artian weapons. Now make a weapon using 3 attack infusion parts. Affinity is generally not worth it. You also want to make sure you're only selecting parts of the same element type. If you don't know what you want here, going with the dragon element is a safe bet, so you can use it to beat up even more Gogmazios. Then you can reinforce your Artian weapon to see what stats you get. The stats you want will depend on your weapon, but don't worry because you can re-roll them using Oricalcite later. The key thing here is to not get caught up chasing a perfect roll. I generally aim for 1 sharpness boost and at least 2 attack boosts on my weapons, with the exception of Charge Blade, which benefits a lot from element boost. Sadly, I don't know much about ranged weapons, so I can't give much advice on them. The second method is known as SAVESCUMming, and that's what I'm going to do here. If you're not interested in this method, you can skip ahead to the next chapter, but it's worth seeing how it's done as it's not too difficult and can save you tons of Oricalcite. For this method, I recommend having at least 150 Oricalcite to start with. You can do it with just 50, but it'll be less annoying the more you have. Step 1. Come to the smithy and save your game. Step 2. Craft about 3 Artian weapons using only affinity infusions. We're not going to keep these weapons, so we don't want to waste our attack infusions on them. Make sure that each weapon you craft has at least 2 of the same element or status type so that your Artian weapon actually has an element. Step 3. Reinforce all of them and see what you get. If you are not happy with your rolls, dismantle each weapon to get all of your Oricalcite back. Then save the game again and repeat the process till you get something good. When you do get something good, do not save. Instead, take note of which weapon you got the good stats on. For example, here I got a good roll on the second Artian I crafted, counting from bottom to top. So I'm going to return to title screen and select return without saving. Very important. Now, when I go back into my game, I know that the second Artian weapon I make will have the stats I want. So I'm going to craft another throwaway weapon with affinity infusions, but for my second Artian, the one with the good stats, I'll use all attack infusions and make sure that all the parts have the same element type. If you did everything correctly, you should get the same stats on that exact weapon. And now we've made a weapon using just 50 Oricalcite and no longer have to worry about wasting more to re-roll later. Now it's time to upgrade into Gogma. Now for most weapons, attack focus will serve you well. Of course, if you're building element, go for element focus. Just whatever you do not go for affinity focus. That is by far and away the worst one. We're going to go attack focus for this greatsword here. And now that we've made that, we want to reinforce the weapon. If you're happy with your current stats, you can keep the bonuses or reset them if you want to go for something different. I'm going to keep the bonuses on the greatsword I just made, but I can reinforce to try and get even bigger stats. Now I very strongly recommend a sharpness boost EX here. And then ideally, I'd want about 2 other EX boosts on top of that. Whether they land on affinity or attack, I don't really care. There we go. You sure we can get better than that, but that's fine. Now keep in mind you can only get an EX roll on the same stat twice, so don't go wasting your time trying to get EX on your 3rd attack boost. That ain't gonna happen. Now we want to go for reset skills, and this can be a very sanity consuming process. I'm just gonna roll until I get one thing that I can work with. Doshaga Might is really good on Greatsword because of how often you can offset with that weapon. The best group skill would also be Lord Soul as well, so we can keep rolling to see if we can get it, but honestly the chances are really low. Yeah, no, we didn't get it, so we're just going to keep Doshaga Might and make a set around that. So we just made a Gogma weapon from scratch, and now we're going to build a set around it. To start with, we're looking for at least one more piece of Doshagama to go with our Gogma set bonus. I know the Gogmazio's Greaves have Doshagama's Might, but I don't really want that. We don't like peak performance too much. And honestly, the Doshagama Coil ain't too bad once it's transcended, so we're going to go with that. Now for Greatsword, Soul of the Dark Knight is too good of a set bonus to pass up, which unfortunately means we won't have room for the Lord Soul group bonus since we didn't get it on our weapon. But that's fine, that just gives us something to work towards later. We could go like Gogma Braces and then Volga Anjanath Helm. That'll give us more maximum might uptime, since Gogmazio's gloves also have Volga Anjanath set bonus. Now we definitely need the Bale pieces, so Bale Cuirass and Boots. We do want to max out Agitator because that's the best bang for buck. And look at that, we have the perfect amount of room for a point in burst. Now we want to finish off maximum might. Now I would actually love a level 3 counter counter-strike here because that skill is amazing on greatsword. We only have 2 more level 2 slots though, so what we're going to do is use our charm. I can look for an RNG charm that I picked up here. Look at this, critical eye and 1 counter-strike. I could put this on. We don't really need critical eye though. Guard up could be an option depending on the monster you're going to face. In fact, this would be a straight upgrade over the craftable counter-strike charm, since you could get level 3 counter-strike with the decoration slot and just keep guard up for free. But for the sake of accessibility, we'll just use the craftable charm. Let's add speed eating level 2. Now here I could increase resentment even further. I could add some evade extender, or let's say 2 levels of earplugs. That way we don't have to worry about tackling through rules. We can just focus on getting that TCS. Definitely want to focus on this here greatsword, so we're going to have focus handicraft. Now we've got a lot of sharpness to play with. Comfort for days. Got access to a ton of crits, so we want to make more use of critical boost. Now we could even overcap and try to max out critical boost, but I'm just going to go with Guardian. Yeah, we'll go with Guardian Handicraft. Now we have a metric shit ton of sharpness. So this is actually a really solid build we made up for greatsword here. You can just go ahead and do some hunts, have some fun with it, get more materials, and then try your hand at re-rolling for that Lord Soul later. Now if you made it this far, then honestly huge props to you for wanting to learn more about this game. I rarely make guides because I just suck at explaining shit, but I really hope this video was helpful and at least somewhat easy to understand. Hope you have an amazing time out there, and happy hunting TM.